What's going on, everyone? Robert from Bridging the Geekdoms podcast here. And if you don't know, over the past couple months, I've been doing a podcast series covering music and film. I've called it Music and Film. And this is going to be the final episode regarding that for the time being. And this week, or this episode, I'm going to be covering pretty much everything that I talked about already. I'm going to bring it all together and really explain how important music and film is by talking about and touching on things that I talked about previously. So that's kind of the idea behind this here. So let's get into it a bit here. All right. Now, while researching music and film, I did find a really interesting quote about music and film. And this is what it says. Sound and music in films do more than merely enhance our experience of a film's narrative. They can also affect the ways in which we perceive ourselves and how we act. Now, this quote came from a gentleman named Sergej Pilberg, I think is how you would say it. I don't know. I'm not. It's weird spelling. He's from the University of Oslo. This is one of the most truest statements I think that I've ever read or heard in regards to film and music. Now, I've talked about it in the past, how music can affect you emotionally. It can really connect you to the characters in the movie. But what you may not realize is that it can also connect you in other ways. It reminds you of of your past, of a past event, maybe a lover, a moment, really anything. Now, what it then can do is stick with you. And when you watch that movie or when you hear that music, it won't so much just remind you and help you in thinking what's going on in the movie, but it will also remind you of that moment, that memory, that lover, or what have you. Now, it is true that all music can do this, not just music and film. I mean, I like to think that music and film handles it a bit differently, but we've all been there when we hear a song on the radio in the car, and it speaks to us in a way that you truly believe that the song was written specifically for you. Now, when this happens, and believe me, this has happened to me quite a bit, there's been multiple times where I hear an album that's 20 years old, and I'm like, oh my god, this was written just for me. Usually that happens because you're going through something in your life, whether you know it or not, whether it's subconsciously or knowingly, you're going through something in your life, and the music speaks to you and really opens your eyes to different and certain things. So in my eyes, a strong musical score in a movie can do all of that, what I just said above, plus so much more. It can wrap you up in a nice little musical glove, or maybe like a cocoon. It's a place where you can escape while watching a movie to know whether to feel safe or to put your guard up. There is a musicologist, Nanette Nielsen. She's a researcher at the Department of Musicology. Has been doing some really interesting studies when it comes to the effects of music on an individual. And we're going to get to that in a second here. But what I want to do is I want to just play a few songs that I think truly has effects on the way people watch movies. Now, this first one here, of course, I don't have it pulled up. Good job, me. High five. Woo! Here we go. This one here. This is called Beautiful Lie by Hans Zimmer. It's on the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice soundtrack. The interesting thing about this specific piece of music is the emotional connection that you feel with it. Of course, it really helps watching the movie, but if you just listen to it, you can hear and feel the sadness and angst within the song. Now, if you've seen the movie, this plays right at the beginning of the film. And what you're seeing on screen is the death of Batman's family, of his mother and his father, and Bruce Wayne's mother and father. It's so emotional, it's so strong, and it's a powerful scene that is enhanced by the music because you can feel that within the music. There's also shots of Bruce Wayne at his parents' funeral and how he's feeling as he runs away and everything like that. It's such an emotional and powerful moment in the movie that you have to have music that really, really, truly would enhance that moment. And it really does. It's one of my favorite pieces of music from that album, from that soundtrack, I should say, and you should all check it out. Another one that I want to bring up here, and this one, I kind of went back and forth, like, do I want to play this? Do I want to play this? I'm going to play it because I think it's one of those pieces of music that really grasped what the film was about, and a lot of people forget that. A lot of people forget what this movie truly is about, and there's a lot of negativity around the film because of the one prior to it took a lot of crap and everything like that. But this movie, it's a theme. It's a theme of two characters throughout the entire movie. This song is played multiple times throughout the movie. And it's their theme. Again, I talked about in one episode theme, and it's very important that there's a familiar theme. But not only that, but it's an emotional theme. It's a theme that focuses on love and really pushes that aspect and that idea of these two characters as you see them grow and fall in love with each other as the movie progresses. And that is Across the Stars from John Williams. By John Williams from the movie Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. That is such a beautiful piece of music. I don't care what anybody says. You can call me strange or weird or whatever you want to say, but it is easily one of the most beautiful pieces of music that I think John Williams ever created. And like I said, it fits all of those beats that I've been talking about in all these episodes: the theme, the emotion, the character, enhancing the movie, feeling connection with the characters, all of that. That's what this piece of music does, which is simply amazing. The final one that I want to bring up here, which some people that know me may be surprised that I am going to bring this up. I don't know why. It's a very good piece of music. Let me see if I can find it here. What happened to it? I can never find what I need because... There we go. It's a very interesting piece of music because it's, again, another film, saga, trilogy, what have you, franchise that relied heavily on its music as well as what you were visually seeing on the screen, both hand in hand. Completely blew everybody away. It was one of the biggest trilogies of the 2000s, and I gotta say, it wouldn't have been the same if the music would have been different. I'm not as big of a fan as some people are with it, but this piece of music here, I have to say, is one of my favorite when it comes to this franchise. And this is Concerning Hobbits by Howard Shore for the Lord of the Rings franchise or trilogy. And much like the last song I played, Across the Stars by John Williams, concerning hobbits very much as a theme in itself for the hobbits, it gives you that emotional bond of the joyousness of hobbits, of who they are and how they act. That was the whole point of the hobbits themselves. You were supposed to kind of see yourself as the hobbits in this franchise, in the books and the movies, because they're the most relatable to us as humans, as a person, as beings. And they're just happy people. And you get thrust upon you different missions in your life and different journeys, and it's all about making it through that journey, and who is with you, your friends, your family, who you consider to be with you through your life. And that's what that movie's about. And that song, that specific score, really encapsulates that aspect of the hobbits and who they are. And I think it's a brilliant piece of music that really helped push Lord of the Rings. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of other pieces of music that Howard Shore created for the franchise that are absolutely amazing, but that was one that I wanted to focus on at this point in time. Now, before I started talking about all the music and such, I mentioned this musicologist, Nanette Nielsen, and she did a really interesting study. She really did. Now, I'm going to read this here, so bear with me. In a test that she and colleagues performed in 2013, she sent a handful of random people out through the city of Bristol, to which they would receive instructions via their mobile phone on how to progress through a story that they had created. The most interesting aspect was that they were assigned roles and were able to influence the plot based on their actions. And this is kind of what I like to think of it as, is role-playing. I don't know if you've ever done like a live-action role-playing game, LARPing as some people call it, or if you play video games, think of things like Fallout or Final Fantasy, like a role-play. You're a character, and your actions can really affect the outcome of the game. Probably the most famous game for that is like the Mass Effect series, that your actions and your decisions affect what is going to happen in the story. Well, Nanette Nielsen, in this study that she did just that. She gave these players, these people, roles, and on their cell phones, put earbuds in their ear, and it would have instructions on their phone on how to start the story. The players were not familiar with the story as they started their journey. According to the report, music and sound played a fantastic role by enabling players to become more absorbed in the action. They became more involved in what was happening around them, and ultimately became more confident in the roles they were playing. Nielsen says that it was music that kept the players captivated and made them hold on to the right amount of self-reflection and engagement so they weren't pulled out of the experience. Now, if you ask me, that is absolutely amazing. If you look at that specific study, now, to me, it very much relates to that of musical scores and in film. The idea is to captivate the audience, to connect them with this story and bring them on the journey. What Nanette Nielsen did here is get people a story. You give them a story, you say, here, this is what you're going to do. And they played music as they went through the story. And at certain moments, the music would play a certain way or a different way. That's what film does. That's how film works, that it pulls the person into the movie. It puts you in that character's shoes. It puts you into that movie, itself. That's what music does. A good musical score can do this, while a bad one could absolutely leave much to be desired. I mean, that's what this is all about. That's what music and film is supposed to do. It's supposed to captivate you. It's supposed to involve you. It's supposed to make you feel for the characters, feel for the story, enjoy what you're watching. It baffles me why more films don't go this route. I mean, I know money and such can affect a film, but when I look at some films, especially like action films and stuff like that, which are high-stakes adventure films and such, I'm thinking of a movie off the top of my head, The Expendables. It's a fun action movie, absolutely. Couldn't sit here and tell you that I remember any piece of music from that movie. I can probably tell you that it was very angsty, very fast-paced, very upbeat, but was there anything that connected me to the characters? I don't think so. Not that I can remember. But then you take a look at another action film series like Indiana Jones, and you have such a magical score from John Williams that not only connects you to the main character, but takes you on the journey with the story on the screen. I don't know. I get so excited when I talk about music film. I get so excited when I hear new music from films that I just love talking about it. So, with that said, I knew this was going to be a shorter episode. I'm going to kind of leave you with this. And I really do hope that you all enjoyed this musical journey with me. I will leave you with a piece of music that, in my eyes, I truly believe this, that it encapsulates everything you may, and, you may laugh at this, honestly. But while this is a franchise that has its own memorable theme as it is, I think that this specific piece of music, this theme, could be just as significant, if not more so, than its main overall theme through the entire franchise. The emotions that it evokes, it brings excitement, anger, sadness, and it takes you on a journey from the beginning of the piece of music until the end. And like I've been saying, that's pretty much all you can really ask for when it comes to music and film. And that's what we all should hope to hear and see and witness when we listen to music and film. So, I give you, without further ado, I give you Duel of the Fates by John Williams from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you soon.